guys, it's Vok here, and today I'm back with another LEGO Stranger Things MOC, and this is Hopper's cabin. But more, it's really based off the awesome fight scene between Eleven and the Mind Flayer from the second to last episode in Season 3. So this build is really just the interior of Hopper's cabin with Eleven's room and the kitchen, and then the living room and all that good stuff, so then I could just add more detail to it and really make it more accurate to the actual interior. Now this video is in collaboration with the Jackhammer, and he built his own Hopper's cabin with the exterior and the inside, so it's the full thing, and it turned out absolutely amazing, so be sure to go check it out on his channel. I'll leave a link to it in the cards for this video. So starting off in the living room where the scene actually took place, one of the first things you'll notice are these two Mind Flayer arms, one coming out of the wall and then one coming out of the kitchen window, and these are definitely some pretty interesting builds to design. They're really just a ton of studs stacked up on top of each other, and then they're just slightly popped out, so then I could get them at more of an angle. It makes them really fragile, but it definitely gives that gross look that the Mind Flayer actually has, because these are of course the Mind Flayer's arms or tentacles or whatever you want to call them, but those are just reaching out, and there's one on either side of 11, so then you can get the awesome scene with her using her powers on them, and that whole fight was really one of my favorite scenes from Season 3, so you can really capture it accurately here. And then we have my custom painted 11 right in between them there, and I really love how it looks. Now for the walls and the floor to the living room, I'm using a ton of dark reddish brown tile pieces, and some of them I haven't attached down all the way, so then it creates a really cool wood effect, and that works really well, especially for Hopper's cabin, because of course it is an older building, so I love how it turned out. And of course in the living room there's a bunch of furniture, so we have Hopper's green chair just made in sand green there, and that's close enough to the door where he can make sure that it is of course open 3 inches. And then I just put in the cupboard that 11 knocks over with her powers from Season 2, and then there's a cupboard with a TV on it where Hopper can watch some 80s TV shows. In the corner I did include the old-fashioned heater that's in the cabin. It's a pretty simple build, but it just really adds the old look of the entire cabin. On the ground, I did add a couple more things with a carpet using a snot technique. I'm pretty sure they used this in the Fringe set that just came out a little while ago, and that just makes the carpet a little more raised. It's in this nougat color, and I just really like incorporating different snot techniques into my builds, and I really like how this one turned out. And then of course on the ground there is some paper and some wood boards and just some other stuff on the ground to really make it look like the Mind Flayer actually attacked it. And then for one last thing in the living room, we have the table, and this is just where 11 can enjoy some Eggos, and I really like how it turned out with the dark red tablecloth and then the yellow chairs. It just looks pretty accurate. Moving on to the kitchen, it has a really rustic feel to it that I love. The floor is once again tiled, but just with a different color in dark tan. It just really make it look more separate from the living room. And there's just a bunch of different stuff in here with the wooden shelves that extend out with just a bunch of different stuff on it, including a record that probably has Hopper's favorite song on it. And then I added some drawers, a sink, and a refrigerator, and then that stove. I actually built my own stove rather than just using the Lego piece for it, and I really like how that build turned out. I know it's just a stove, but I like it. And then we have a lamp with a few things leaning up against it in the corner, and then for one last detail in the kitchen, we have one of these fish things on a plaque. I forgot what you call them, but it just adds to the whole look of the cabin. And for the last part of the build, and one of the more important parts, we have 11's room. The outside just has the sand green door, but moving inside we have these sand green walls, and these are using a bunch of tiles on the side. I assume she got this painted sand green in between Season 2 and 3, but anyways, they look really cool. And then other than that, there's just a pretty basic bed design with a walkie-talkie on it where she can talk to Mike, and then there's a desk by the wall with a cassette on top of it, and then there's just a pretty basic cupboard with some drawers, and then an orange radio on top. Now this build wouldn't be complete without some minifigures, so I didn't include my custom 11, and then there is of course Lucas with the axe, so then he can chop at the Mind Flayer. And then I also included Nancy with a custom painted red shirt with the stripes on it. I actually really like how that turned out. And then she just has a shotgun for an accessory. And then of course there is Mike, and that hairpiece is the only thing painted on it. I just decided to paint the Luke hairpiece black, just because that looked definitely more like Mike's hair in the 3rd season, and I really like how all these turned out. And that's pretty much it for this build. So this one was actually a really fun one to do. I got to incorporate a lot of different details and techniques into it that I just really enjoyed doing, and I really hope you guys did like it. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye.